Hey everybody, it's Andy here, AK Montoli, and we're back for another Vintage League, and we're playing a spicy one today. We're playing some AsmoVines. This is an MTGO user name Zeus. It's an old list that I have updated from a couple years ago, and I don't think they were playing Oval Chase Daredevil, and I don't remember if they had cookbooks or not in their list, but certainly they had Asmo. And anyways, I've always thought Asmo was a really neat card, and being able to deal 6 damage to a creature is no small thing. And of course, we've got the recent addition of Poxwalkers, and Poxwalkers with Root Wallace is a pretty powerful combo. So Oval Chase Daredevil is a card that we can use with Underworld Cookbook. You discard the Oval Chase Daredevil. It creates a food token, which brings the Daredevil back to your hand, which in turn just increases your ability to have cards to discard to Bazaar of Baghdad. Obviously, the Hogak in the deck is very powerful. Of course, we also can cast this card as well. And we've got the ability to pump the Root Wallows up. We've got Putrid Imp to be able to turn all these things on, discarding whatever it is we need to be able to bring back Benjamines or Hogaks, and all the regular culprits that you expect to see out of any of the Bazaar decks, minus Dredge. And yeah, excited to showcase Poxwalkers. This is a new card on Magic Online from Warhammer 40, which has been out in paper for quite a while. And I would say it's a card that has seen some vintage play, but not a lot. But of course, the best testing ground is MTGO, and it'd be very interesting to see moving forward how many players try this card out and what becomes of it. But yeah, guys, that's it. I think this is going to be a fun deck to play. Let's see how we end up doing. And yeah, as always, appreciate you hanging out. Like, comment, subscribe. Okay, here we are in round one. Just a fantastic looking hand. We're going to keep this one. We didn't win the die roll, unfortunately, but can't have them all. Just hopefully my opponent doesn't go too nutty on me here. No Luris. Probably a Bowmaster. And Bowmaster is a problem for this type of deck right now. Any non-dredge Bazaar deck is an endangered species these days because of the presence of Bowmaster. But let's see what we can do. Okay. So as I say, we can't play around it. But I'm going to do our best. Oh, they didn't do it. Okay. So, discard Poxwalkers. And what's the more powerful? Believe it or not, the Blazing Root Wall is the more powerful card right now. But I can cast that in the following turn. But that said, I'm about to cast Asmo. So I don't think it matters too much. Or, excuse me, we're going to attempt to cast Asmo. Interesting. Still a pretty solid looking army here, I would say. They got swords. This could also get countered because now they know about the root wall. So I guess my sequencing could have maybe been a bit different there, but let's see. Let's go and get a cookbook. Okay, I mean, that was a really strong turn one. We got our Hollow One Force of Will, but okay. Don't really know what we're playing against. I'm just going to bring it back. I don't know enough about what my opponent's doing to get overly excited. Obviously, if they've got Graveyard Hate, this deck is not nearly as good, but we do have the ability to cast our spells given enough time. Like we can hard cast our Root Wallas, our Imps, we can hard cast Poxwalkers, we can pump the aforementioned spells up. So let's see. Chalice on the draw is probably not as good, but as I say, I haven't seen enough of my opponent's deck to really want to react to it. Okay, this hand has no mana. This one's pretty lousy too. Okay, it's mulling on that one. This is pretty terrible, but we're going to keep her. Try something like this. Feels like they have Leyline here. Yep. To play a Saga, I will be happy. They just cast a Root Wall here. Could get punished for that if they play a Saga, but look at the basics. All right. I definitely would have hit this in response had I not done that, but it is what it is. Back to basics. Okay, well, geez, I really got punished, didn't I? We need a green spell off the top now. Certainly going to Bazaar here. Misstep is probably not at its best here. I think I'm just going to let them draw here. I don't want to get too excited about anything. Just throw it here. I'd like them to tap out. Would be ideal. Sure. Flame Slash, yep. I mean, if this doesn't work, it's bad for me, but we are in a bad spot here. There's no doubt about that. Did work. Wonder if I want the red spell over the Wasteland. I probably do, in all honesty. You gonna take my Mox, or are you gonna dig? They're digging. Interesting. Well, I guess if they have Wasteland or something like that, it's really good. Because I am reliant on this Bazaar here to be able to get my Poxwalkers going. They did find a strip mine, okay. And I can't actually kill Dak. Wasn't sure if they had wastes in their deck or not, but most things have wastelands these days. Most decks. So, okay. Mm-hmm. Stacked Faden's wreaking havoc on me here. Believe it or not, that was actually a decent draw because this gives me an opportunity potentially to kill Dak here. And I do think I take the opportunity to do it. I'm not thrilled about it, but it is what it is. Get that critter off the table. I would have liked to have had the Putrid Imp in play because it enables me discarding root walls, but it is what it is. I feel like my opponent already has a ton of mana. No. Okay. That doesn't seem very good to me unless I'm misinterpreting it. I mean, I can't beat it. It's an Asmo. Vigor, I guess, can help me here. Too little, too late. I don't know how I stop this thing. I mean, can this thing even block? Hmm. Yeah, I'm dead. All right. Well, that's a nasty little deck they have there. Hmm. Maybe want a couple bone shards. Maybe I want collector if I don't know. No. I'm just going to go about my business here, guys. Let's just have a game like we did game one. Our deck do its thing. Okay, considering we mulliganed down to 5 in the second game there, we did play some magic. Okay. Guess this is a keep. Pray they don't have a mental misstep here. So what we do is if they putrid in, we discard Poxwalkers. Hopefully they don't. Hopefully they do not have a ley line here. Ley line does make this not as good. A little bit of Tabernacle Insurance, and can I cast this thing? I just tap it for 1, and that way I can just keep my Vigor here. And yeah, I mean, non-bizarre hand. I just popped in, what is it, 9 power. Like turn 1, that's pretty good. Tab, yep, okay. I think I keep Poxwalkers. Poxwalkers hits the hardest of the bunch. Good draw. Quite interested in lands. I get Wasteland. That means my guys don't die. It's a hit for 7 there. It's solid. Okay. Hard to know which land to tap here. Where it gets tough for me is if they have back to basics here. I'm going to keep the red one. Poxwalkers, okay. I mean, we're hitting pretty good here. They are dead next turn. Okay, time walk. Not happy to see a Mox here. But back to basics does not get me here currently. Now, if they cast this big guy that they had last game. All right, we got it. Nice win. Okay, guys, here we are in round 2. Mulligan that one. I mean, this hand's pretty bad. Chalice is strong, though. I guess I'll keep it. I don't know. Like, Chalice and Wasteland is a pretty powerful combination if you can get it to work. Now, if we're playing against a Bizarre strategy, this is probably not going to be enough. Okay. And having the Chalice at 0 here is really strong against this type of a deck. Now, I'm going to need some help here. Poxwalkers is D's. But if my opponent plays a wastable land, I'm probably going to want to hit it, right? Okay. Oh, wow. Soul Ring. That was savage. Okay. I am just going to cast the Poxwalkers here. I don't have the luxury of... My opponent can just play a land and be the first one out here and just cast their spell. So Poxwalkers is not really a profitable block for them. Then I can start hitting their lands. This is one of the neat things about the Poxwalker, is that white initiative doesn't ever really want to block it because I can trade up with it because of Death Touch. And this card does recur. So it's quite a nice addition versus these white initiative decks. Archon, okay. So Archon's coming in. Oh, they're going for the Dungeoneer. Okay. I mean, pretty awkward. Pretty awkward here. So we need one of our 4 Bazaars, or we need a Putrid Imp. That's what I'm looking for. That Soul Ring was a savage hit for them. One of in their deck. I thought Chalice was going to give me a lot of levity there with the Wastelands in this match. Let us see, though. Three ball, okay. Oh, what a hit for them. Jeez, because I get my Poxwalker back here, but I guess I got to play my Bazaar and next turn just hope to hit a land. And if they waste me here, I will still Bazaar because I need to find land. I'm hoping I don't have to do it, though, until next turn. Hopefully I naturally find a mana producer. because it will bring my Poxwalker back. Okay, there's Catacombs. That's a good one. Yeah, this is pretty much over. My land comes in play tapped now, even if I find it. We weren't dead right there, but we are dead. Okay. I feel like Misstep's pretty bad. I certainly like the Asmo Cookbook combo. I feel like Force of Vigor is pretty bad against them. Yeah, just keep this in. Actually, I might want a couple Vigors, in all honesty, just because of Leyline of the Void. Like, Leyline is the thing, so maybe I just shave this. I wasn't planning on keeping them, but people are playing Leyline of the Void against these decks. And my opponent does know I'm a graveyard deck, so yeah, I like this better. Yeah. This is not good enough. And this is what I'm talking about. I'm gonna keep it. What am I looking to do? Black Lotus does put a lot of pressure on with the Root Wallace. Can I get rid of the Putrid Imp? And it also gives me an opportunity to cast Asmo turn one. I think I like that. I'm going to get rid of it. The thing with the Putrid Imp, though, is evasion. If they have Leyline, this obviously is not incredible, but oh, that's pretty incredible. We have a bit of Tabernacle insulation for a turn here. Okay, your go. Let's see if they slam the tab here, or are they just going in for a creature? So what I'm going to do is during my turn, I will kill this thing. And then I'll pump my Root Wallows with the extra 2 mana. I can put them to 2, but I died a Tabernacle, so I don't think I have to do that. Put him to 6. That's going to be hard for him to win from here. I just don't want to die to Tabernacle unnecessarily. Like, it's tempting to put your opponent to 2, but I don't know. Do I care about Mind Break Trap? I might play a Mind Break Trap here. Get rid of my Chalice. I am going to bring in the extra Force of Vigor here. Maybe not. Maybe it just won't do that. Bone Shard seems good. They have Caracas. Just keep the old chase. Okay, let's try this. Like, Asmo is very powerful in this type of a scenario if we can get it into play and get the Underworld Cookbook going, because being able to deal 6 damage is really strong. Excuse me. This hand is a nice looking hand. Now, hopefully my opponent does not have a turn 1 Archon. Thalia. Oh, it's a Containment Priest. Interesting timing there. Can't get Poxwalkers in, of course. I guess it just does it automatically. Good start for us. Baseline, okay. Glad we got the cookbook in as another discard outlet. I'm in no hurry to make a food right here, so I'm going to hold on to what I've got in my hand for a second. Okay, now I think I will do it. Just to get a card into my yard. And I'm going to strip mine my opponent here. Is that enough? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Nope. Next turn. No, my opponent has Solitude. Is that what's going on here? Sorry to see the Chrome Mox here. That sucks. Did not really want to see that happen, but let's see here. Okay, well, I've got a chance to take the initiative here. See if what they want to do. Can't imagine they would want to attack. One, two, three. I mean, I think I need to try and take the initiative, right? If they block me, they may just jump with the Containment Priest, which is totally reasonable. What? Oh, I'll totally kill the White Plume here. This is great for me. All right. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I fetch 7. This is a 7 caster, but what if I waste them? I think that works too. 1, 2. Yeah, I think we waste them here. Slow them down a bit. And if they don't have a Caracas here, this is pretty strong. Caracas or Solitude. I will get through to take the initiative next turn. I don't love our position here, but it's not the worst either. They have one unknown in hand. 2 now. Okay, White Plume. All right. This does take them a little bit farther down here. I unfortunately don't get anything. I don't have any basics in my deck. Just attack with Hogak here. Okay. And I can trade with these. Hopefully my opponent can't take the initiative back from me. I'd prefer them not to get Catacombs if I can help it. And if they attack me with both here, I will block both, and I will kill the White Plume. That would be my plan. Get a green source here, get a Bayou. Solitude is a possibility. Don't think I want to make another White Plume. Okay, they are able to get into Catacombs here. Asmo. So good. All right, let's see what they do, right? 3, 4, 5. So they can actually kill it. So I'm going to discard this. I'm going to play an Asmo. I don't have a cookbook. And it's 2, right? 2 foods. Okay. They have to block or they die. See, that first time we've showcased at this particular league, but this is going to be a very powerful sequence. We'll get into the Forge. And I will put it on Asmo. It's 5. It's a weird block. Okay. All right. I'll put it on Asmo. Just diversify my damage a little bit here and just hope that they can't take the initiative back from me. Because if they get into the throne, it's going to be hard for me. Kill that. And Mox. Okay, there you have it, guys. Nice showcasing for Asmo. See you next round. Okay, guys, here we are in round 3. We did win the die roll. We've got a Putrid Imp. Yeah, this does work. Of course, Chalice is the key card here. And we'll see what we're up against. No Luris. So I don't know that there's... Oh, Chancellor. Okay, well, that's a little bit awkward. Yeah, unfortunately, I think what we have to do is play the Strip Mine and then play the Chalice, because I need to pay the 1 for the Chancellor. But once again, I do think Chalice is very strong against these decks at making them play a little bit more on the fair side. Wasteland, okay. So I think I have to Wasteland here. It's a little bit awkward. But I need the Black Source to be able to cast Asmo later. And if I just get Wastelanded here, it is pretty bad for me, but... So that was going to be pretty good for me. Okay. I think we'll try it like this. I do think the Vigor is pretty reasonable. Being able to hit a Chromox with the trigger on the stack. And this hand's fine. Chancellor. Yuck. Okay. Here comes the Chromox. Yucky. Yep. Might choose Wasteland here. So powerful, guys. Might just choose Bazaar too, but Bazaar is not looking great in this particular circumstance, but Bone Shards is also very good. My opponent will be able to identify that. Bazaar of Baghdad. Hmm. Do I take the white source and leave them with the tomb? I think killing the Chrome Mox is best here. Now wasteland them next turn. And just hopefully they don't have another white source here. If they don't, I think we're winning this game. Excuse me. Yep. So they're down to 3. Okay, they did have another source. So we got a black source here. Don't think it really matters whether it's black, green. I think I get rid of the Obel Chase here. And once again, an interesting decision point. Do I kill the Cavern here and take them off a colored source, or do I take their tomb? Probably take their ancient tomb here. It's hard to say, but if they have another ancient tomb, I don't know. I've changed my mind. I'm going to kill their Cavern here. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Unless they're holding it because they have a seasoned engineer they're going to try and cast, but nope. Okay, that's not the worst. Okay, that's all I can do. If I can find a colored source, it's going to be really good for me. If I can get Osmo going. Osmo is almost unbeatable if I can get it going. I do have to spin, unfortunately. Hmm. We are losing the race here, but we do have a Hogak we can bring back if we ever get some help here. I think I wait one more turn here. I'd like to find a land and be able to cast Osmo. Perfect. Um, so how does this work? bizarre, right? Yeah. Ooh, that sucks. I hate getting rid of the Poxwalker. But I believe that's how good Osmo is. What's very nice about Osmo is it does hold back. As long as they don't have a Solitude. This should bring back my my two Devils. My two Oval Chase. Next turn, which will be strong. Should be able to close it out from there, I would think. Now, it's very possible my opponent has a Solitude in hand here. We're also very close to being able to cast Hogak. Okay. So, despite I'm sad to lose Osmo here, it gains me a life on top of this attack here. I can still cast the Cookbook, and I am going to likely get my engine going with the Oval Chase, which is really nice. So this will bring back my two Oval Chase. It's bizarre first. See what we find. Hollow one brings these back. Okay, so does the Mox. Which allows me to dismember. And then we can gain some life back. I see no reason not to do it now. Discard a card. Get my Oval Chase back. Just little value like this is pretty big game. And we're down at 5 life, and so we can gain life. We still have 2 more Osmos in my deck. That's like it's my Bazaar. Okay, that's pretty good. Just pumping those root walls up is really powerful, guys. Yeah. We'll bring another root wall in this turn off the Cookbook. Just having an ulterior way to discard your cards is really strong. Okay, really nice showing. Forgot about the Poxwalkers there, but obviously just, well, they were dead, but just backbreaking getting those back. We could bring a Hogak back into, how many vines did we have in our yard there? 1 vine. So let's say we untap, what will we have drawn? Draw a Hogak there. Okay, so Poxwalker, we'll bring back Hogak. No, we just kill them. That's the correct move. Pump up the root wall of 3, 6, 9, 10 damage. Yeah, really nice. Okay, here we are in round 4. How do I feel about this hand? I don't really think this is good enough. Much, much better. Um, kind of value the land here, but I kind of like the oval chase too, but I guess the reason to keep the mocks is if I find Asmo. Oof. I wish I could keep my root walla. I just can't. I gotta try and win. I will say I have been enjoying these Poxwalkers so far this league. They felt really good. Good synergy there with the Daredevil. No, I think my opponent is playing a combo deck, so I could just die here. That's pretty desperate. Well, it feels desperate anyways. I don't know that it actually is desperate, but if I get to untap here and find a green card from my Force of Vigor, I'll feel a lot more secure about things. They did shuffle. Time walk, okay. That's not so bad. Feel like a saga will be coming down here. No? Okay. Are they going to dig? Or is this an oath? That's what this feels like. The Wooded Foothills is a bit weird, but... Oh, loam. Interesting. Well, you know what? I'm trying to get cute here. Let's just try and kill my opponent. This puts him on a 2-turn clock if these all resolve. And I'll wasteland them. Just trying to tempo them out here. Like Oath of Druids doesn't do it now if they were somehow playing an Oath. And now I have lethal damage on the table. Okay. I think we go and look for a red source here. Gak. Let's see what they got here. Is it a repeal of some sort? Not really sure what I'm playing against. I'm just running it back, guys. I really don't know what I'm playing against here. Okay. Yeah. Can have a double hollow one on turn one, perhaps. Is this an oath? Time walk. Hmm. If this is oath, it's going to be a tough match for me. Two bottom, okay. Hopefully I can get this imp to resolve. No, they had the misstep. Crop rotation, interesting. So we're playing against a lands deck here. Mm-hmm. Yep. They got loam. Bizarre, please. Oh, that was the one, guys. Now look, do I just lose to a tabernacle here? Of course I do. But if they don't have an answer, this is really powerful. We're gonna kill them extremely quickly. Now it's a bit of wishful thinking to think that they're that all of this is going to resolve, because it just mightn't. But I'm playing to win here. Yeah, no, I do think this is fine, actually. Just trying to be as efficient as I can without burning too many spells here, but this works. Let's see if we can dodge a tabby, guys. Mm. Yeah, that's kind of an infinite loop, right? I guess I have wastelands. So I won't concede. Yeah, tabby. Hmm. Saga, yep. I don't think I'm going to win this, but I do think it's worthwhile seeing what my deck can do in this type of a situation. Like, there's the Wasteland. Don't think I expose it yet. Or do I? I don't know. Like, I kind of need a mana producer now. Problem is, if I expose the Wasteland right now, they can just bring the tab back. Let's see what they find here. So I guess the question I ask myself here is, do I want ley lines? On the play, I don't think so. Like, maybe I could bring in a couple surgicals. These forces, these vigors don't feel very good. I know, one ley line, why, right? Because if I hit it my opener, it could be good. How do I feel about this? What does this hand even do? Nothing really. This is beautiful. Okay, let's try this. Okay. It's possible that we just get roasted here. Like, it's really hard to beat the type of decks that I think I can probably do something like this. It's really hard to beat decks that have crop rotation into like Tabernacle or stuff like that, right? It just is. It just, the reality is, it's hard. Let's just pass and see how we do here. It's a good start for us on a mulligan. Not happy to see Lotus here, of course. Bizarre, yep. There's a crop rotation, looks like. Makes sense. Maybe they're going to needle. Let us see. Yeah. Yeah, as I say, it's going to be very hard for me to be able to win this here. But we do have game. They just have yeah, needle. Yep. That's pretty savage. Okay, well, my opponent's got us pretty good here. I don't think we can win from here, but it's possible. Dispel's not bad. Just try and keep them off of loam here, I think, is the key. What did they go and get there? Yeah, drop. Sure. I'm not going to cast a Basking Root Walla because it'll just die. Okay. So they don't have the loam. Did I side over all my figures? Yeah. Poxwalker. Oh, come on, bruv. Ancestral? Yuck. Yeah, and now they have the loam lock. Fast bond, okay. Yeah, Saga's going to ice me pretty good here, too. So what am I looking for? I guess I need... I'm going to have to kill the Saga here, unfortunately. I don't have a lot of choice. I just have to pray they don't find a loam. Oko, yep. Oko's going to kill me quick. Feel like I need to save that for a loam versus trying to hit just one thing. Let's see. Hogak. Yeah, not optimal, guys. Hope we can find a land here next turn. Yeah, pretty disappointing. I feel like in game 2 we had a pretty good chance, but got caught by Glacial Chasm. Didn't realize what we were playing against either. In game 3 here, having full realization of what we're playing against, these lands decks are very difficult for my deck to beat because it's just a high probability of them finding Tabernacle of Pendrell Vale. Yeah, it's an interesting build. Let's see. They've got us here for sure, though. Just too many turns without being able to do anything. Like, I guess I can cast double Root Walla, but they just wasteland me. That's the issue. Okay, guys, here we are around 5. We did not win the die roll, but we have a nice looking hand. We're going to keep. The problem that we're looking at here is that my opponent is a combo player. Oh, Luris. They're probably Luris PO. Okay. Oh, Lavinia. Uh-oh. Yep, Lavinia is a good one. Won't stop my vine, but hmm. These are all dead. Just gonna burn the holo one here. I want to keep the Basking Root Walla because it's a card I could cast. There is some merit to actually maybe doing it the other way around, getting rid of the Basking Root Walla and keeping the Blazing and casting that because the Blazing is easier to pump. And hopefully we can find a black source here next turn. That would be nice. So they're going to go and get a swords here. Perhaps an ancestral as well. We still got some pretty good discard equity here. Ooh, that's actually solid. If I can get the second vine going here, this is going to be really good. Let's see. They're probably going to go get Black Lotus here. Do I wasteland them? I don't think so. I think I'm going to just attempt to cast Asmo here. I mean, it's quite a bit of damage coming through. Let's see if my opponent's going to Tinker, or are they going to Ancestral, or are they going to Swords me, they're going to Black Lotus for Luris. Like, there's a number of things they could do here. Tinker Citadel. I guess they can't have Citadel with Luris, of course. My gut is they've gone and got a Black Lotus. It's a lot of damage coming through next turn. Could be a Bowmaster as well. So it was indeed a Swords. Okay. Okay. Let's see if they get another white source here. Tundra, yep. Hopefully they do not have another swords. Three cards in hand. Really like to see my opponent have to chump block here, would be sweet. Let's see, guys. What do we got? Okay. I'm going to Bazaar. Take their black swords here to try and keep them off of Bullmaster. They've got a swords here. There's nothing I can do about it. One of the reasons, I guess, to take the white swords here, maybe should have thought about it a little bit more, is because of Spell Pierce. So maybe I just cast a Basking Root Walla here based on that. Let's see, though. If they tap down for swords here, then obviously I will cast the Underworld. They do have to block here if they don't have a swords. Actually, I'll just cast the Putrid Imp. Better than casting both of these. Okay, opponent conceded. Okay, nice win there. So this just looks like Esper. Esperluris. I think Chalice is great on the draw. In truth, I just really like the way we're set up. I'm not even sure I want Bone Shards. I honestly think Chalice might just be better. Stops baubles. I mean, obviously you want to have it more on the play than you do on the draw, but still very strong. My opponent may sandbag some of their Moxen in their hand, thinking that I'm siding it out. One of the selling points of playing a deck like this versus your other style of Bazaar decks is that this deck casts its spells. It doesn't rely on the Bazaar the same way. This is like a play off the original Jund versions of Hogak Vine with Deathray Shamans, etc., casting their spells, pumping their Root Wallas, that sort of thing. It's pretty powerful. I have enjoyed having the extra discard outlets of Underworld Cookbook and Putrid Imp. I think we had one good game here in this set of matches where we really went off with an Imp. Okay, here we go. I don't think this is good enough. It's close. But I just think our deck is powerful enough that we can do better. Yep. So the Mox gives us a little bit of Tabernacle insurance here. I think because of that, I'm going to put away one of the Root Wallas. Okay. Now, they may force this, but it's pretty aggressive if they do. And we'll just pay the one extra for the hollow one here. Rather than discard the Verdant, because we do want the Verdant to be able to go and get a Badlands to pump up our Blazing Root Walla. And I expect the hollow one to be one of two things, Force of Will or Swords. But that's what we signed up for here. We have some insulation against Tabernacle, which is good. Okay. Got some flying, and let's cast a hollow one for one, and it's your go. I think my opponent has lost the connection there. They just got back into the game, so they were gone for 3 or 4 minutes there. So they are going to force a will. All right. Let's see what we can do here. Saga's a scary one. So Lantern, yep. See, stuff like this, that's not overly effectual against me here. I guess if I draw a Hogak, I'll feel a little bit bad about it, but put that on Blazing Root Wall, I'm presuming. Wasteland, okay, yeah, Wasteland's smart. It's exactly what I drew too. My opponent's good. So we're not going to be able to get there with all likelihood based on what we're doing here. The Saga is just going to take over the game. But we're getting in for a little bit of damage. Oh, they've got a Bowmaster. Yeah, Bowmaster just robs me right here. I'll just concede right now. There's no point. All right, let's see if we can do a bit better here this time. Hmm. I just like the way we're set up here. That is definitely one of the downsides of the type of hand that I just played there. That Bowmaster really does get me. Yeah, really strong hand. So obviously the vulnerability of this hand is that Tabernacle does get us pretty good. But, wow. Let's see if they've got it. The reason I'm doing it this way is that if I get waste, if they, I guess if they tabernacle me, I have the second line here, but if I get wastelanded, um, I still can cast a Putriment and discard my root walls that way, whereas I cannot do that with the hollow ones. And of course, playing the hollow ones is a higher upside. And of course, my opponent's just dead next turn if they don't have an answer here. So it's got to be Tabernacle. Wasteland will not do it. Even a Swords doesn't do it. Mm-hmm. A Bowmaster will keep them alive. Okay, well, it will keep them alive insofar as it can block what I have on the board, but it doesn't stop what else was coming through. All right, guys, I'm not going to lie to you. This was actually a really powerful league. I felt like this deck performed exceptionally well. We beat some of the big players in the format for sure. Our one loss was to Lewis Paul on which is not a meta deck. I mean, they were playing a lands deck, and of course, lands. One of the selling points of playing it is that it preys on bizarre type strategies. But I felt like this was a really solid 4-1, and uh, we showcased some of the pieces that were really good in this deck. Like Oval Chase Daredevil was solid bizarre fodder. We were cycling it back and forth with the one Underworld Cookbook, which fed Asmo. Asmo had a good showing as well. It blew up a couple creatures along the way, or threatened to do so, and was a 3/3 body for 1 mana. Poxwalkers was pretty darn good tonight. Showed up on a couple occasions, and it maybe was a little bit extra overkill, but the threat of a 3/1 Death Touch is pretty strong. It does deal with constructs and white initiative creatures. It's just not something that you want to block. Like an example would be is that you have a White Plume Adventurer that has Forge on it. My deck does not get through that very easily outside of Hogak, but a Poxwalker is not a profitable block for it because one, it kills the White Plume, and number two, it threatens to always come back. So yeah, I really enjoyed this deck, guys. I highly recommend you build it and take it for a spin. And yeah, I will continue to think on this as to whether there's further innovation that can come with this. But as always, guys, I do appreciate you hanging out. Remember, like, comment, subscribe.